Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and we're just having another discussion for a typical standard format, but with the somewhat an expanded version of a Naya Aggro deck. That is in terms of the Legends kind of setup. So this deck, this is called this one by Alessandro Aschini, is a finisher in the recent Pizza Box Open, which is the standard format. And here in the MTGO website, we check his list. So with a lot of 2 obs and 1 obs, and basically going with just creatures of 26 creatures, 4 enchantments, and just 5 instants in the main, and 25 lands. And what I've said that it is just going with the kind of legends because of the variety. As you can see here, we have a lot of 2 obs that's going well, but their common creature type is that they would go with the legendary humans. Thus the deck has also added 2 copies of Cavern of Souls to somewhat go with the mana fix, aside of course from the usual card setup here. Let's check one by one the card that are used. So starting off of the creatures are the 2 copies of Benalia, the Guardians of Neo Benalia. So this is still a human soldier. That's ability that can scry 2 whenever it enlists a creature, and also can protect itself by discarding a card and having it indestructible until end of turn. So with that, we also have 2 copies of the Voldaren Trail Seeker. It then goes to have a backup effect to put some counters on the creature, then gains its ability to have it sacrificed to deal damage equal to its power to any target. At the same time, it becomes at default 3 to cast for 3/3. So still a good way to curve in this deck, as we can still have a few of the 2 obs, 2 mana cost, 2 obs cards, and also some 1 obs in that of the 1 mana cost. So with this card, we also go with checking a few of the 1 obs. Let's have Hopeful Initiate. So still a good 1 drop in this deck, and also caters the human creature type, and of course the utility card by itself that can destroy artifact or enchantments. And then we have also several cards here, such as Skrill, Defector Might, that can also act as a protection to another target creature you control by having this ability and getting them hexproof from that color. And of course, it cannot be blocked by creatures that of that color chosen this turn. And several also for the 2 drops, we have Talia and Inti as maybe some of the relevant cards that can work well in certain matchups. So Talia, for instance, can tax off control or mid-range decks that relies on creature spells. Inti can of course get you card advantage, that you discard a card, you put some counter on target attacking creature, and then whenever you discard or 1 or more cards, exile the top card with library, and then play those cards until your next end step. So with that, we still have some new 3 drops here that can work well. We have some several reference for the human white human cards deck, such as that of Adeline, and Anointed Peacekeeper. Also main deck can also get you to help to know your opponent's hand by choosing a card name to tax that spell of the chosen card. And the 1 obs of Trostani, Trius Whisper. This card would not go with the human creature type, but it would still work evenly as a 3 drop with a 4/4 power, and also can get your creature that touch vigilance or double strike with this ability. So several of these are your utility. Let's check the visual view. As you can see, we have several 1 obs here. For the rest, they might have some interesting interaction, but it sure is more relying on the creature type of the deck with a little bit of spot removals. So one notable spot removal here is Unyielding Gatekeeper, which is more of uh, disguise effect. It's basically being cast in turn 3 as a disguised creature, and then turn face up for turn 4. That when it's turn face up, you can have to exile another target land permanent. Then if you control it, the permanent, it would return it to the battlefield top. And then otherwise, if it's not under your control, you will have to have its controller create a 2/2 white and blue defective creature token. So anyway, this gives a good somewhat exile effect removal to another relevant non-permanent from your opponent, and would just have them replace it with a 2/2 white and blue detective creature token instead for that threat. Now going back to the list, the only non-creature spell that can also act as a creature because of its turn transform by its third saga cost is the Commando Face Kakasan. Still a default and a very good 1-drop per se. It gets to ping off opponent and their Planeswalker, and also have the next creature spell you cast enter the battlefield with a summon counter. And of course, an exile, it gets a 2/2 creature that also Etching of Commando can have this effect as a 2/2 haste creature. Now, one particular creature that can also highlight here in the deck is the Sigarda. So Sigarda is more of a flyer, but also act as a undead effect for humans. So humans who control gets +1/+1, and it has its coven that whenever it attacks, if you control 3 or more creatures with different power, look at the top 5 cards of the library, and then you may reveal a human creature card from among them and put it into your hand. So this also provides you a good card advantage by having to check off the next human creature card from among the top 5 cards of the library and place it into your hand. Now for the instants or the sort of spot removals I can consider here are 2 copies of Destroy Evil, Torch the Tower, and 1 copy of Lightning Helix. So Destroy Evil here is pretty much the most efficient and metagame call kind of card in the setup of this deck, because it has been able to destroy any relevant enchantment, since there are several enchantments in the current standard metagame that are worth destroying, and also can deal off creatures like Sheoldred, other creature of the Schism, or other high toughness creatures from that of your opponent. Now we don't really need to go over to the lands, as I think these are enough to fix off the mana cost and the curve of this deck. Let's check the sideboard setup. Let's go to the visual view again. So the sideboard has several interesting 1-ofs and 2-ofs. So we go first with the Agatha Soul Cauldron. So this is more like a utility card in the late game, as you can exile target card from a graveyard, and if a creature card is exiled, put up some counter on that creature control, and then that creatures you control with some counters gets to have the activated abilities of the cards that was exiled by Agatha's Soul Cauldron. So in a way, it can go with an anti-graveyard effect, but at the same time, creatures exiled will get you to pump up your creature board. And also a copy of the Commando. So this is just a flashy disenchant effect. We have also Fleeting Spirit. This is a 2/2 cost 3/1 creature that can also be used to exile 3 cards from your graveyard. It gains first strike, and then you can also discard a card. You can exile Fleeting Spirit, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of your next end step. So this is also a recurring threat in a way. Seraph is just another utility creature that can be cast for its prototype cost. At the same time, can also be used as a good 6-drop in the late game. Several spot removals are also added here with Strangle, Witchstalker's Frenzy, and the Festivities for the Boros Tokens deck. Lithomantic Barrage also can be used against the Esper of Fiend, also for the blue-white or mono-white matchup. Chandra's Hope Beacon would also go with a late game Planeswalker threat that can also get you to gas and also copy your instant or sorcery spell. And several ETB effects can be countered by Doorkeeper Troll. That's 2 copies in the main deck, and the sideboard I mean, and additional Thalia, Guardian of Thraben against mid-range and control decks. Now let's check the matchup as we did in the tournament. So its other result has 0-2, but it has the record here of 8-1. It's the final record of this card in the semis. So it's defeated. The match up here has several interesting decks. It has defeated Boros Convoke 2-0. Azorius Tempo also, it has 1-2-1. Simic Aggro is 2-1 also. Monorail Aggro is 2-1. Then we have an interesting Absent Aggro in round 5. That's also 1 by 2-1. Jessica Control 2-0 round 6. John Midrange in round 7. It has faced again the Azorius Midrange in the quarterfinals, and it's 1-2-1. And Monored, it has unfortunately has lost against that deck with a record of 3 games, best of 3 matchup. But anyway, I think this would still become a relevant card in this standard format. As you can see, the metagame here is mostly composed of several techs, but Azorius Control is still a popular card or a deck archetype choice along with Esper Midrange, whereas the rest are Borson Book and some also of the Domin Ramps and Monored Aggro are considered here. But still, if you want variants in your build, I think I would suggest this Naya Aggro list, which still has finished in the top 4 of the tournament, and an astonishing 8-1 record will still be enough for me to convince me to somewhat play this game on my next FNM or any local game over the standard. So I guess that's pretty much it for this deck tech highlight for Naya Aggro from the Pizza Box Open Standard. For any discussion or comments, just let me know in the comments box below so we can have some good discussion as to what this deck would function, and it would be really that of a help in the current standard metagame with the murders at Carlo Monor. Again guys, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and see you on the next video.